Did everybody, I appreciate we're cutting this process a lot shorter than it would be. Did everybody find that something changed?
Yes.
Yeah. So what you're realizing by testing the list that the client thinks are their values, you find out you get actually what their unconscious values actually are. And if you've then done that with the client, the next bit of the process is to go, well, are these values in alignment with the client's goal? So we've got kind of 3 slides we're going to cover in one here. The alignment, do those values that the client's got, are they in alignment with the client's vision? The next question you might consider is, are any of those values, you know, we talked about the wall of woe, is anybody aware of any away from values in their list? What do we mean? So Cassandra, explain what you mean by that.
Well, what I think is interesting is that I had freedom.
Yeah.
But I also had it in a really negative connotation.
Yeah.
So I pitched, so it's no surprise that my values were health and fitness, so it's no surprise that I'm actually not doing anything.
Okay. Yeah, lovely. So freedom could be towards, I'm moving towards being able to do what I want to do. Or it could be, freedom could be, I don't want to be doing stuff I don't enjoy, for example. So, because the word doesn't tell you about the direction, but it's what it means to the client. So I've had health, which sounds like a great word as a value, but what it meant for the client was not dying. Try living your life by not trying to die, and that will create an energy, but it will create a lot of anxiety in your body if I'm doing that. So what you would do with it, obviously we're not teaching this today, we're giving you an introduction to it, giving you a starter, and also we're showing that this can be done a little bit more quickly. The next stage of the process would be testing, does this order work for the client? Or actually, would they prefer to change it and have some more positive towards words in the list? Have we got any away from? Is anybody else other than Cassandra aware of an away from value in their list? Maybe.
Yeah, easy.
Easy. So what does easy mean?
But it's not being easy in the past.
And so avoiding it not being easy. Good. Lovely. So of course, pressure.
The one was like, because we were doing a planning cycle, so it was like there's the pressure to have to do it again.
Yeah.
So it's really, so there's a cycle with me. Interesting.
Well done. Well done. And look, we've started something here. We'd love you to continue, because you're connected to an NLP community. We'd love you to continue this process, working together or working with somebody from the group after today. So we've started that journey. We understand now that we might have some away from values. We might also have some externally referenced values. A value like, I remember, if you don't mind me saying, Cassandra, a value working as Cassandra came up once of thoughtfulness, which meant at the time that Cassandra needed somebody to be thoughtful in order to feel good. Now, that's a problem, isn't it? Because if you need someone else to do something for you to feel good, you're going to spend your time disappointed and frustrated. So So here's the thing, values are fantastic in helping clients become aware of where their focus is actually looking at what they don't want. NLP, the definition of NLP is helping people to focus on what they want. And of course, most people unconsciously are only partially focusing on what they want, partially focusing on what they don't. Good.
Enjoy that. Chase.
Awesome.
Was convince themselves by saying, I really, really want that because I've had enough of this. I really, really want that, so I prevent much more of that. So it's just letting go of the lack and just focusing on the.
And the final stage of the process with a client would be using submodalities, is you would throw away the values that don't work for the client. So if the value of freedom's not working for Cassandra, get her value for freedom, make it small and dark and disappear in the distance and become irrelevant. And which sounds weird, right? I mean, I remember when I helped Callum let go of the value of health. Like he felt really weird because he'd been living his life since the age of a teenager, trying not to die, because his dad died when he was 11. It was a deeply subconscious value. But at the moment he started training for well-being, he's become a different person. He's become much lighter psychologically and actually healthier, not necessarily fitter. So we then decrease values that aren't working for the client. and we increase the importance of values that we want instead. So get on, Kylie. Kylie, share that with the group.
So yeah, because mine is obviously, it's funny, but we've just realised I have to keep proving because I enjoy the proving side, but that's not serving me because that's what then is creating that cycle.
Yeah.
And so there's an excitement of doing it because I'm like, oh, I can do this and I prove myself again.
Yes.
But then it's not serving me because then it's breaking the security. So
Right.
I'd have to lower the values, get rid of the values that
Proving.
aren't serving me.
Yes.
And then,
So let go of the values of proving,
yeah,
and then working with your coach, you might suggest a value that might be more useful.
yeah, bring
like,
that one to the other values.
yeah, it could be like serving clients, for example, or whatever. And by the way, that final part of the process is a conversation between coach and client to decide what they want to make more important. Is that okay? Now, obviously, we spend quite a bit of time, in fact, we spend a day on this, don't we? Teaching you how to do this. Equally, there's quite a lot of value that can come from just understanding values at a deeper level and how they feed in with motivation. So we're aware of the time. It's just before 2 o'clock. Chris is gonna start at 2:10, so we're gonna have a short break. But just before we do, are there any questions? Anything that you wanna ask before we wrap that exercise up?
So how would you translate that into the beingness of being Y, being Z, being A, how would you then get someone to step into the beingness of it? You could ask them to step into the beingness, but other than
Well, so that's the submodalities change.
right.
So for example, when you're moving up, what you're talking about, stepping into the beingness.
Yeah.
In our language, that means making a value more important.
Right.
Using some modalities, making it brighter,
Right.
making it
Putting a
bolder.
picture around it.
Yeah.
Making it colourful.
Yeah, that's the submodalities bit.
In addition to that, when I've reached this stage with the clients, done the submodality bit, we've done the increasing decreasing. We've now got fairly what you'd like to think is a fairly accurate list of values in the area of life you're working. I then tend to use metaphor, analogy, whatever it is, to then replay that back to a client in that order. So if I could provide you with a life where you had and you felt a lot more of, and so on, and you can use your sensory acuity and see that person actually, they start to light up, considering the possibility of the vision of their life with their values being aligned, suddenly it's like, actually, that's possible. So that alignment to the vision at the end is quite crucial to have. It's almost like relaying the strategy back to them in terms of their values.
If I could provide you with a career where ...
Yep. You had an abundance of time with your family, with an element of perhaps financial in there. How does that sound to you?
Going,
Who here has ever struggled with their vision? Anyone struggle writing a vision? So look, it's a lot easier to write a vision when you know what your values are. If you change your values, it's a lot easier to write a vision based on what your values are moving. So it's 2 way around. Write the vision, change the values to meet the vision, or use your knowledge of your values to align to actually get clarity on what's right for you. Sound you it?
Yeah, just a quick question. So if I know we only did 6 today, and we normally say 8 to 12.
Yeah.
So if somebody had 12 and they were adamant they wanted 12.
Yeah.
When you're doing the away from and towards, would you go through all 12?
No.
Because that
No.
seems.
Yeah, there's something about 5. Think about your life. So for me, the important things in my life: family, business, sport, health. There's 4. That's my life.
So if they were doing their health.
So you typically only have room for 5 things, 5 focuses. So in health values, you're only really going to have room for 5 things that you focus on. So you use the 12 and the 8, but ultimately what you want to make sure that top 5 work for the client.
So I would take the 5 that they've numbered that we've visited are the actual ones 5.
Yeah.
And fill the rest.
Yeah, you really want to focus on getting that top 5 right for the client. Great question. Brilliant. Any final questions? Because we need to move chairs around and get the room set up for Chris. Any final questions?
Yeah.
Well done. Give yourself a round of applause.